Hello, and thanks for joining us on the Superintendent Report with Dr. Warren on Northwest Educational TV. Good morning.
Good morning, Morgan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Good.
Are we really ready for Thanksgiving?
Extremely. I can't wait to eat some good food.
We are too. How's school going?
It's good. It's
Good.
stressful.
Good. Homework?
Always.
Always. I love to hear that.
No, I don't. So as we prepare for the spring, what are some things that we could look forward to after Christmas break?
Morgan, it has been a very, very busy fall, but usually spring semesters are that much busier. This is an important spring for us in the school district, and students definitely need to know about this, students and staff both. Couple of big things going on right now. We are meeting with a group of about 50 or 60 community members right now. We've been through 4 meetings. It's called our Long Range Planning Committee. And that's the committee that gets together and really looks at our growth. You know, we are continuing to grow as a district. We've got over 1,000 kids a year. We're growing 1,000 kids a year. We're over 22,000 total. And this committee looks at facility needs and moving forward, you know, what if we need to build new buildings, if we need to fix up our older buildings, you know, those are the kind of things that we're talking about. So that's been very positive. One of the big things that I'm gearing up for is the legislative session. When we come back from our Christmas break, the 85th legislative session will begin in January, and they'll meet all the way through the spring, all the way to the end of May. And so that'll be very exciting to start meeting with those guys in Austin.
That's very interesting. Okay, so what does this mean for students, and how can we get involved?
That's a great question. There are several issues, and I don't know. I can't remember if you were a member of the student council here.
Yes.
Are you? Okay.
Yes.
So I have been meeting with all 4 of our high schools. Northwest, Byron Nelson, Eaton, and Steele. I have met with all 4 student councils, and we have been talking about legislative issues. I think it's very important that I understand the student voice of NISD. So I'm going to take all 4 student councils, and we're going to meet between Thanksgiving and Christmas break. We're going to meet and we're going to talk about several different issues. There's some very important issues that the legislature is going to consider that affect you and your classmates and all the students in NISD, but you guys really never get to have any say in those kind of things. You know, we're going to talk about school funding. We're going to talk about possible cuts to funding. I think the last time I was here, I talked about ASETAR money, additional state aid for tax rate reduction, which means we could be cut up to $10 million over the next couple of years in funding. And the funding, you know, the number one, the funding is what pays for our staff, it pays for our teachers, it pays for the things that we do in the district. We're going to talk about the tests that you're required to take, the STAR test and how many tests that you're required to take, all the way from our 3rd graders, our 8-year-olds, all the way to your age and above that to our seniors. So we're going to talk about several different things, and those are going to be the issues moving forward in the legislative session. So I'm very excited when I get to meet with the student council representatives just to see what our students really do think about those issues that the state leaders will take up this spring.
Okay, so is it helpful to know that my voice matters and I can make a difference by simply
Absolutely. I think one of the mistakes that we make is we don't listen enough to our student voice. And I think, especially at the high school level, we have some very, very intelligent students in our elementaries and our middle schools. But once you hit high school, I think you really have a really good understanding, or at least have the capacity, once you're informed about the issues, you have the capacity to really have a keen understanding of the issues that are going on around you. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing the students of our student council and really kind of getting their take on what's happening.
Okay, so what's the survey that's got everyone
One
going?
of the ways, and your voice is important. The other voices that I feel are very important are your parents. Our parents, our caregivers in the district, our community members. We are going to conduct a survey. I believe it starts on November the 29th. And parents and those adults in our lives in the school district are going to have the opportunity to voice their opinion about several different issues. And, you know, as the new superintendent, Morgan, it's very important for me to really kind of hone in on what our feelings are, what our attitudes are for the school district. This school district, NISD, has a wonderful reputation across the state for excellence. But there are some challenges that we have. There are some gaps that we have to fill in, and I need to know everyone's perceptions on that.
Okay, so how can parents access this survey?
Morgan, that's a great question. It will be available in English and Spanish on our website. We hope to capture as many responses as we can get to guide us in our focus as we really work to put kids first. All right, so Morgan, if you want to have some homework on our legislative priorities, you can actually look on a website that we have in the district. It can be found at www.nisdtx.org/legislative, and that we will post updates on legislative issues all through the legislative session.
Thank you so much for coming in today. Is there anything last that you want to say?
Morgan, there is. There's one more thing that the students, you know, when we watch this video, I want students to really understand. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, when we get back from our Thanksgiving break, and I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe Thanksgiving. Morgan, a lot of times when we talk about education, a lot of times it's us opening a book, opening our computers, our Chromebooks, but we're going to stop a little bit right after we get back from Thanksgiving, and we're going to start having conversations between our teachers and our students. You are aware that we just had a national election, and you're aware there's a lot of controversy associated with that election. And, you know, I think students right now are seeing some really bad examples of behavior from adults on the national level. You know, whatever party you belong to, doesn't matter, both sides. I just don't think that we're being as civil with each other as we could be. And I think students are seeing that at the national level. And so we're going to stop as a district and really talk about everyone's opinion is important. Okay, and we're going to respect every opinion, and we need to understand that moving forward. So we're going to, you know, on all of our campuses, especially our secondary campuses, we're really going to have some conversations with students, between our students, our teachers, our administrators, about understanding we always have opposing viewpoints, but we can do so in very respectful manners. So that's what I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a good plan.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this month's Superintendent Report with Dr. Warren. Thanks for watching on Northwest Educational Television.